That sealed the fate of the third World Eater. Just one more to go. Out of Date asked to see you again to congratulate you and let you in on the final phases of his plan. This is your chance to get his priorities aligned with yours. Do right by your tribe and the world at large. Just head back to the Ark. He seemed eager to see you again. Out of Date says there'll be consequences of the war, but there are more pressing matters at hand. The last World Eater has been left undisturbed with the tree while you focused on the war. He thought someone with your light perspective and key would have had different priorities and faced the World Eaters before resolving the tribe war. Regardless, Out of Date is grateful the tribe war is over. Out of Date understands the road has been rough, but you already know what's left to end this journey, and it'll be tough. You're the only one that's strong enough to face the last World Eater. The future depends on someone with a light perspective to give the world a chance to survive. Only time will tell what the future holds, and if it will bring a lasting peace for those that make it to the end. Out of Date says the word about what you've done so far is spreading. The tribes haven't lost hope yet. He appreciates what you've done so far, but unfortunately he's had urgent news from his friend Wiz in the northwest. He says he'll point you in the right direction, but finding Wiz and making sure he gets what he needs is up to you. That doesn't sound good. Out of Date's hunch is real. The MURK puff is up next. Out of Date says that Wiz is worried now that the Northwest World Eater is stepping up its activity. He explains that Wiz is working on an undersurf vessel in order to get to the World Eater, but needs help to get it done. Out of Date suggests that you should head northwest as fast as possible and see what you can do to help. He's happy to help. Hopes to see you again. Wuz isn't easy on the tongue, but I think he says he's happy to see a friendly face. Not too many of those around these days. Wiz remembers you were such a cheery kid, and he's glad to see that light hasn't faded from you, despite the years. But Wiz understands it was a long time ago, and memories get... They've been here for you since you were a kidling, but when you left, you also chose to distance yourself from everyone that cared for you. Wiz says our memory keeps things for us, preserves them until we are ready to face them again. He knows you've returned to face LUPA-LUPIN, and that confrontation is as inevitable as the tides. He's not surprised that the loss of your family could plunge you into the depths forever, But you've always been able to rise like a bubble to the surface, no matter what. He knows that though the tides of history may push you in one direction, ultimately it's your choice. You were the one to be wronged and have lived with the consequence. Asks if you ever think about freedom and whether any of us really has it. Glad to hear that. He only wishes he was that sure about himself. Amazed the world is going to continue on, but happy to hear it. Still so many things to invent. Impressed that you fought so hard to keep the world spinning. Thinks you were smart to join with the Myriad. They have a rainbow of ways to approach any problem. Says they're unified in the ways that matter. But that's not nearly as important as this. Wiz says that you should let the past dwell in the depths. But there's something else down there too, gnawing at the Tree of Life. He's named it the MURK Puff. This is why he's tinker-tonkering with the octopod. But the lid got stuck, so he needs a big enough tug twister to open it up and let you a-go in. He can't leave the surge station, so you must help him find a tug twister. It's definitely made to lend a helping hand and do the heavy lifting. Toxanol records mention it as an automaton made for moving bionucleus matter into storage areas. The end is coming to the world, and everything else. Stay away from that biohazard. You'll want to wash yourself off for a month. You need to loosen the bolts without unsettling it. Just a few moves left. Make them count. That's it. The tug twister's loose. Let's hope it turned the grabbing hand into a helping hand, too. He believed the tug twister would do the trick, but now realizes brute force won't do the trick. You need something slick. Well, he means slick as in greasy, so you can lube the hinges of the lid. He can't argue against the fact your fur's shiny. He says the lid should open if you sprinkle grease it. Problem is, he's all out. He knows his old friend Choo-Choo always keeps his grease sprinklers well filled. He should have an extra that you can borrow. He stresses that you should come back as soon as you've Let's see. Choo-Choo knew you would make it to him one day. All you had to do was follow the steel path. The rails might be getting rusty, but eventually they all converge on him. Claims rails are like rules. If you follow them the way you're supposed to, everything good in life can roll your way. Says you followed the rails to where you need to be, but tracks have switches in them too. The question is then, will you keep on the same track or look for a way to hit that switch? You seem like you're on the right track already. He just hopes you don't get sidetracked. Whichever way you go, he wants you to know that the rails never steer you wrong. Stick to them, and they always bring you right to where you're meant to be. Likes your sureness, the way you keep at it like a chug. Seems like the world came out of its rut and is chugging toward higher ground again. Can't thank you enough for hitting the brakes and working to turn the world chug around. But let's not get derailed. Says he's surprised to see anyone this far out, but sometimes the wrong train does take you to the right station. As you can see, he didn't plan to make a stop here, but now that he had to, he's really happy to see you. He says his name is Choo-Choo. He's been off track since the world started dying, but he's trained his mind to stay positive. Thinks that's fine, but there's no path in this world that's not been already made. He's convinced the tracks are like the paths our lives take, and you must deal with the outcome, even if you didn't lay them yourself. This time, though, he was sidetracked and needs a new wing nut to get back on track. Wing nuts are easy to find, as they're fitted on any in-front chugger-chugger out there. The challenge is taking them off. So he says you're just like he used to be, a one-track mind, but going the right way. The wing nut chug tunnel. It goes on forever. Slice and dice. Great shot. There are places up ahead far worse than this. That's super duper dope. Get out of here. Chop it up. Oh, that's rare. slash. That's not too bad. Such a dark night. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Wiz says that there's no plan to confront the MURK puff until the octopod is properly armed. He knows you'll need something that packs enough boom to put a dent in that shell, or better yet, head. Pyro sticks will do the trick. He says his old friend Boom makes all things that go. There's a rumor that some of Boom's pyro sticks shot off and are out there roaming free. You should keep an eye on the horizon for pyros. If you're fast, you have a... He's a... That's a bang plant, where Toxanol used to make all sorts of splody things before it blew up in their faces. Crit. Sharp steel. The sun is high. At least you got something for your trouble. That looks like an unbanged pyro stick on the loose. Better catch it before it goes off. The pyro sticks will cause a bang, but targeting is on you. At least now you have a chance to hurt the MURK puff where it counts. You should aim for the head. That's the MURK puff's weak spot. Thinking doesn't seem to be his strong point. Wiz has been working on another cannon, but instead of pyro sticks, it squirts GUPPOs, scaly distractions for anyone with an appetite disorder, and irresistible for the MURK puff in particular. Seems the best way to find GUPPOs is go talk to Gil. He has a natural sonar and knows where the GUPPOs sub the surf. This means you'll have to go visit Gil at Burblebottom. Find... Happy to finally get to meet you. He's seen a lot of... Claims to have been born swimming, but he must flat-flop clear of it during these dark days. It must have been upstream only to get to this point in your histo-future. But which way are you going now? With the flow or against? It's crazy hard to flipper against the surf, but you can't save the world if you let it sweep you away. Either way, it's a shame the surf has... Thinks life is like trying to ride a wave. Can't thank you enough for fighting against the goo. Happy you ride alongside the myriad. They bring a real shine to everything they work with. Thinks that's an excellent point. Riding is life. Work is not nearly as fun. He never drank from this pond because of the disgusting things done there. Even the fish stopped drinking here after the pollution made the surf mucked and the air blocked his gills. He figures the Tree of Life isn't drinking either. Or, well, that's not true. Claims the surf is poison now. Anything that drinks it becomes poison too, including the Tree of Life. His friend Wiz needs GUPPOs for one reason or another, and Gil is ready to point you in the right direction. But here, you're only going to find dead ones. He's pretty sure Wiz wants them alive. Well, at least the ones that aren't already rotting. If you head in the right direction, you'll find a clean enough bit of surf to snag yourself some GUPPOs. Helping both you and Wiz makes him double happy. Just a few moves left. Make them count. The air gets stale down here fast. Need the right key? Just a few moves left. Make them count. Built from the finest stuff. Just a few moves left. Make them count. That seems to be enough GUPPOs to provide the octopod with infinite ammunition. He's surprised the MURK puff's been able to hold its breath all this time. It's just another proof of the evolutionary change caused by Toxanol's contamination. Being undersurf has meant the MURK puff has been left alone to munch on the root down there undisturbed. This means the northwest route has suffered more damage than the others. He's sure there's enough time to confront the MURK puff, but he worries if the world has enough years left to last his lifetime, even if you stop the World Eaters. That was the last of them. You've sealed the fate of the tribe and the tree. It's time for the end game. You have your destiny. Follow it all the way back to Out of Date. He never told anyone about what's next, but he's sure it involves you. Just continue to stay true to yourself and respect others whatever happens. You've become their pride, the guiding light of the tribe. It's time to return to the tree one last time. Squint into the oncoming light.
Wherefore, where?
Out of Date says the signs of the end of the world are everywhere. It seems nature is preparing to take revenge. The day of reckoning is coming, and you are invited. He can feel you're approaching the end date. If you haven't decided whom of all like-minded, light-hearted beings you've met have earned a seat on the Ark yet, it's time to do that now. Then grasp your last chance to make sure LUPA-LUPIN'S stopped for good. The tree settled its score, but it left yours half done. He says you need to see LUPA-LUPIN eye to eye one last time. He's happy to help. Hopes to see you again soon. The Sifu is seeking revenge too. He hasn't forgotten what LUPA-LUPIN did, but he also wants to stop him from attacking his tribe. That the world seems to survive doesn't mean he must. He hopes you agree, even if it goes against your light-hearted nature. There's no room for predators in the world the Myriad tribe is building. But he knows this is your fight. You should handle it. LUPA-LUPIN'S own fear was his shackles, not the roots of the tree. It just changed him. You have a chance to stand back and let the tribe handle it. The Sifu is ready to step into the fray. Are the odds about to change in your favor? If a friend dies, something inside you dies. You can save the Sifu by making yourself a target. You're up. Shockwaves spread when the world crumbles. This is not a prophecy, me telling you about the future. It's you shaping it. Here's a vulgar display of power. The stronger he becomes. It's time you remember who the real enemy is and stop playing the game his way. This is how it ends. The Predator and the world itself suffering. But at least it's a sign they're both still alive.
So, what we have here is a clear matter of life and death, and only you can make a difference.
That was unexpected, but welcomed. The big bad predator left for dead. I wouldn't have wanted to miss this for the world.
I think the thing we're really missing here is someone with a heart and soul. The only thing we've got left are those who've lost their minds.
Heart and soul, life and death are one thread. The same line viewed from different sides. It's just that my side is so much better.
Well, anyone in their right mind can see you're lost. But you're right about the thread. Unfortunately, it's been very dark and has run throughout, taken friends, parents, and now yet another life.
We all make choices, but in the end, our choices make us. There's no peace without forgiveness. It's no better time than now to accept a helping hand. Do you wonder what turn life might have taken if you'd done things different? A left when you went right? A yes when you said no? You've walked the thin line between survival and disaster and haven't lost your balance yet. It's because of you the Tree of Life and the world has been given a second chance. You carried the light in a world full of dark and made a difference in a place that needed change. You allied with the Myriad tribe and acted on understanding of the greater good and a code of honor. However, light and dark does simply represent the polarities of life. One can't exist without the other. This isn't the end. Just being surrounded by nature as it heals itself will rejuvenate us. Nature will teach us how to survive. So, trust your conscience to show you the way, and everything else will follow. As foretold, you were destined to split the chains of this world. But you're not alone. You filled the Ark, and those that shared your perspective and gained your trust will accompany you on your journey. Is there a world out there that's better suited for those imbalanced in their light nature than this one? Whether or not, we'll leave your story on record, so those who come after will know you followed your light nature and saved the world. So, when all is said and done, it turned out to be an unusual ending after all. What could be better than ending the story the right way? Ending it your way, a beginning of something new.